Hi, my friends. My name is Trey, and now for something completely different. Where in the world is my Carlos? Putting it all on the rings of hijacked Saturn. Where in the world did my Carlos go to? One love is an action, said Natalie right. Cause she feels the Christ on the inside. If they do the shadow work, son, then with the action, of wisdom, oh yeah. Putting it all in the rings of hijacked Saturn. How are you doing out there, folks? Overthrowing Kronos within. It takes a lot of woe irk to overcome, to use a phonetical exaggeration I learned from David Bliss, to overcome the archontic, internal, subtle aspects of me. Thank you, David Bliss, for these phonetical breakdowns. Yeah, years ago we were talking about how you can decipher the words' meanings by breaking down the syllables. So, is this USA holiday? Labor Day, they call it. Is it Slaver Day or Labor of Love Day? The choice is yours. Yesterday, I met a woman on a pretty lovely woman, a little bit younger than me, on the beach, who told me that her and her partner had just moved here from California. And she said California is a different kind of life due to the imposed pace of life. You know, the pace caused by the so-called high cost of living. You have wealthy humans. I've had wealthy landlord friends that might be scrambling for the rent or the property tax, rather. Even the rich acting like hamsters in a hamster wheel in a cage just to pay the state the insane amount of so-called property tax, well, that's what it's called, but the hamster wheel in a cage. Some might ask, how could I have made 500 videos and not given up? And how come I have not formed a team or become successful? I was born in beautiful, slow Charleston, South Carolina, but though it can be relaxed in my brother's house or in Folly Beach, often the endless swarm of all kinds of egoist normies in like almost brand new SUVs, usually with black tinted windows, will attempt to intimidate me while I'm riding my bicycle to Folly Beach, for example, and threaten to destroy the old-fashioned identity of this town and make it more like the ghetto side of it, where it's people get shot every week, and the Democrat Free Weekly guy has the gall every week in the Charleston City paper to print how many people get shot over there in the to take the old-fashioned, so-called friendly identity of this town and make it seem aggressive and hammered with huge egos with all of these rich Yankees and dumbass military college students, having a few beers and acting as if they want to run me over, or maybe just scrape their SUV into me. I've had people that I were pretty sure was in the mafia, like very, very dark vehicles, trying to scrape me while I'm riding my bicycle, or run me over. They want to run me over on my rusty bicycle. I mean, maybe this is the trauma, the archontic, or the gnarly side of my personality from the trauma of having to be in the ER for 5 days after getting struck. But I'll often ride to purchase raw milk or to go swim in the ocean. And if I go to Sullivan's Island, the only store in Charleston that usually has raw milk for sale legally in there is 2 miles from the beach in Sullivan's Island. So it's about 14 miles from the house here, and then 16 miles to Folly Beach. And besides the gnarly SUVs, it is mostly timeless beauty for scenery, ferns, live oak trees, and tidal creeks and rivers. And how can I get imposed with my so-called self so many days that I don't want to contribute to the whole with another video? For one thing, I am a hippie grit who is convinced I need cannabis or external supply, or thinking I'm in love with some woman or whatever, some external source of energy, or even coffee, and I am residing in a person with horrible CNPD. If I think I need something outside of myself, I can easily slip into the black hole of depression caused by the horrible old coerced habit of codependency, due to my physical and mental issues, as it were. So if I don't hide my flaws or have the ability to fake self-confidence due to regressing back into disease, I won't even add to the awakening. It can be a very difficult part of the shadow work to face your weakest parts, which is, if you're around your bloodkin, it's often what that comes to light, right? So the judgment. Perhaps you are like me and staying with a narcissist who could never acknowledge the validity of your thinking, of your awakening works, or their value, and revert to internalizing their archontic bullshit. It is easy as hell to fall into the jaws of one of these. Don't forget, NPD psychopaths are triangulating probably right now, like always, until they get over themselves, their insanity. And so it is easy as hell to fall into the jaws of one of the chief archons, overwhelm. Personally, excuse me. I got a little bit of that cannabis, got me a little dry there. My THCA weed. So, if you're not careful, it's easy in moments of stress to get one of the chief archons I call overwhelm. Okay. Overwhelm is probably one of the top archons. When you feel overwhelmed, he tries to take over and make you do stupid shit. The powers of Lucifer's bullshit will never quit. As I've said many times, it's probably the greatest strength that the dark side has, is they never give up. They never quit. amplifying your anxiety or depression, and if you allow that shit, and attempt to circumvent your truth or works or your awakening, your remembrance to you are bringing the heaven on earth, or the divine Christ Sophia back to the planet because of deception, you know, or because of they distract you, because they have become psychically very powerful, you know, if you're not aware of it, and they don't want these truths circulating. Worse, if you're like me, your ego or little me soul fragment is hanging on to the mission of saving or whatever, your hero identity. Like I can be if I'm not careful, and hanging on the mission of whatever you're doing. It is, you know, to try to serve the world, the awakening, to help people to wake up. It is easy to identify with the job so much that you revert to trying to do it all yourself. You know, I've always had the DIY to a flaw ideology since I was a punk rocker in my mid-teens, my pubescent years, and so I had a punk rock band when I was 14, and so you revert back to trying to do it all yourself. You can get stuck back in Maya, an illusion. So for often, even a lot of people in the truth or and disclosure communities, you find these massive egos and narcissism, collective narcissism, folks who won't admit you have value without products for sale, you know, or that you have to go through them, you know. Like, you don't realize how many almost every close person who loved to talk to me about the Christ Sophia, now they don't want to if they're a narcissist, because you see they feel it's a guilt trip that I'm fighting them because it's terrible mental illness, and they think I'm harming them if I'm in fact, one of them was showing me a video successful, and bless his heart, though. You know, I love him, but it's just in these times, it is, or in the timeless now that we're in now, the moments we're in now, I have to do my best to share that what I've learned to awaken. So, if you're, you know, it can be worse though if you identify with this hero role. So it is easy to identify with the job so much you revert to doing it all yourself. You can get stuck back in the Maya. For often, even in the truther and disclosure movement, you find these people, man, who will, you know, never ever admit you exist unless you're, you know, making a good living or whatever, because they're stuck on the, you know. Yeah, it's strange, you know. They'll never admit you have value without a book out or products out or, you know, making money. And people who want to control you, gatekeep, censor you. You know, the more well you do, the more you live out your dream, the more you hit the mark, the more they'll try to censor you. Like today, after I wrote this at dawn, and my friend Reverend Deborah's live stream, I was complaining in her chat, which I usually never would do, but because YouTube took her off my my list of subscriptions, I was talking trash and asking them to put her back on there. Because when I went to her channel, it says subscribe, right? Because she gives away this ancient Chinese, you know, or Asian knowledge that they don't want people to know, which is mudras, the Buddha's hand signals, you know. And I've been wanting to learn mudras for years, you know, and I guess procrastinating on getting a book about it or whatever. So when I saw that, I'm like, she's my mudra shamaness, you know, just But yeah, this is what you find. What I've discovered, even having a small amount of living out my dream in small ways, that people want to come up and and it divides you with your friends who have NPD and other people that want to control you. It'll divide you. If you're me, but so sometimes if you're not careful, those people will try to manage you, keep you, tell you to stay in your lane, and if you don't have books or fame, there's a hierarchy in the online freedom community, and or more like the disclosure community. It's just like somebody like me. You have to be very polished, professional. See, I haven't even edited any of my videos. So, without learning marketing, maybe I've been acting like an old dog here publicly. If I'm not being, fully committed to being a lifelong learner, folks, that's what it takes. A full commitment, to being a lifelong learner. So, if I'm following any of Lisa Renee's on ascensionglossary.com, it's the archontic deception strategies. If I'm still copying any of those ways, like codependence or cognitive dissonance, it's easy to do, and you pay the price karmically every time. So if I'm an old dog who can't learn the archontic deception strategies, can seep back. Like Alex Collier is saying that Trump is a hero and all and stuff and all. It's just it's sad, because I wonder what his old self would think if he saw that. What happens to an open anti-salvationist such as myself on a heavily infiltrated disclosure so-called freedom platform? It starts with the R. When Mr. T is the biggest funder and they want people to think he's going to save the day, it doesn't make me very popular. So worse than all of this is the way that they acted, the way that Hijacked Saturn can convince the most adamant truth missionaries among us in our adamancy that my bicycle traveling to the beach, for example, is a righteous act. To take your entire life to survive and not die. In other words, I get fooled. I got Mercury in Capricorn retrograde. I get fooled by the planet, by my Saturn line here too, because that's what spurred the idea for this video. I was thinking, what do I want to say in a video that I haven't already said in all those other videos? And that's how this video right now I'm talking to you in is about how we all can get fooled. Even if you succeed in your mission, or you did what you planned to do, but if you get stuck in survival, or you just, it takes all of your duration to do it, your whole day, because but now I went the other day, Friday, I took the bus to go swim in the ocean, and reduced it down to less than 20 miles instead of 36. So, it's one option for $4, so to take the entire, there's always different options, but you have to be open to the options. To take the entire day or your entire life to survive and not die. You see, I was probably a Buddhist monk in a past life, born around here on my Saturn on the descendant astrocartographical line. In this lifetime, I detest it when I'm watching a podcast such as the wonderful timeless, to me the podcast is the wonderful timeless version of broadcasting, or the archetype of the podcast is like the way I talk to people if they're really open-minded and they're not doing something. It's going back to nature. Like I call it, it's like how the old Native American shamans would talk, it's just you talk about morality that might go for 30, 40 minutes, and people say, I don't want to take up, but my notes here, it says, I detest it. I detest it when I'm watching a podcast and people say, I don't want to take up any more of your time, or stressing it like that. And thank you for your time, me. Or if I have no sex life or marriage, then I do not deserve to teach anything, that I cannot be trusted as a teacher or friend. When you get when you race to get your survival acts done, when you pay your rent on time, when you achieve your survival, you see, the Dark Lord still can steal all your energy unless you love your day job. When you achieve your survival mission, when your little me's achieve the survival mission, the hijacked Saturn still manipulates you subtly, because you think you've done something, you think you've done something, yet to your soul it might be that you did nothing, except you were cornered into another form of subtle slavery, or just survival, just not another subtle form of obeyance. It could be, there's many subtle ways that the Dark Lords will try to get you to obey them. So for me, these societally imposed rules of the Lord of the Rings, the hijacked form of Saturn, are deceptive and can be subtle obstacles to doing the real social work of ever throwing the inverted lies of separation Kronos uses to try to keep us all in the matrix, just chucking the lies out, like time is money. I don't have enough time. You're not good enough, or you're too good. The idea that someone is better or worse than you, for example, perfectionism was a big brainwash for me, back in the day. I once had. It is important to note the narcissist will never want to support your triumphs or successes, because it's like it threatens their need to keep you small and under their control. They must be over you. It's like they're better than you. They're over you. They're the adult. They're the one in control. No matter how immature they are, you see when they're really upset how immature they get. They're over you. Okay, they must be over you in the sick Luciferic possessed hierarchy in their mind. Okay, more powerful. They must be more powerful than you, or they will either resent or deny. If they're trying to be nice, if they want you to think they're nice, they'll deny your deeds, that you did something good, because it threatens them. If you begin to shine, if you begin to shine brighter than the internal black hole of the fake light of Lucifer, as far as time, I've found I cannot produce any good fruit under the gun of the massive, or the Glock of the Glock of the clock, I call it. I've found, for the most part, that I cannot produce any good fruit under the gun of the Glock of the clock, of the massive false truth of the machinery of Kronos, in the timelessness. In timelessness, I've made my best videos, my best songs, you know. If I simply over-identify with my ego, poverty, or the mission I'm on to survive in these normalized, you know, poverty consciousness, if I don't heal all my poverty consciousness in these normalized egocentric attitudes, there is no time for the real spiritual works. Okay, if I'm not really clear-headed, if I'm not going to be really clear-headed and practice what I preached on all these videos, there is no time to do spiritual works, because I get stuck up in these subtle forms of control, you know. And so thus move away from towns with the so-called high cost of living if you want to participate in the Great Awakening, you know, without having to suffer more. Reject the sickness of external control by any narcissist and become aware of how masterfully and powerfully Kronos steals all, even subtly, obedient life with time. Wage and property tax slavery, selfishness, while necessary at first, becomes a pure lie. Slavery giving a rat's ass what the black hole narcissist feels about your works. Even just identifying with your ego in a mission can easily give your whole life over, you know, for moments of it at least, to the cutting rings of the hijacked Saturn, if you're not careful. So begin to give up Kronos' filthy ways. Stop eating your children. Stop killing your children's souls. Meditate. Take CBD. Spend time in nature. Exercise and do what you can to get off the clock. And, you know, even like I say, if you can spend an hour, so-called hour a week, or as Ireland Clark calls it, a strong, you can meditate for 1 hour a week. You might feel a different, feel a difference. Get off the clock and just spend time in nature and do deep breathing, and thus get your head out of your own. Get your head out of your own ass. Okay? Often these can be challenging aspects of our shadow work, folks. Get your head out of your ass. Yes, I'm still having to face the facts that I must fully let go of 3 or 4 of my old best friends. You know, people that I bless their hearts. I love them, but you know what? Because, you know, they all have the savior complex that they have to save my life and be over me. My parent. You know, because of their massive kindness was, you know, collective hero or just covert narcissist trauma bonding. And they had to be my mommy or daddy saving me. And they never contact me. Okay? They never call me. They never put comments on my videos, because they would never watch my videos, because they have to, you know, they could never acknowledge that there was anything good there, because these works threaten them. Okay, accept this. This is one of the hardest things about your friends and bloodkins and former friends. You have to accept when if you know the 9 traits that. Excuse me. And so I'm telling you, folks, if they're high on the scale, And they never contact me because these works threaten them. Accept this. Accept this unacceptable fact. Those kind of folks will never support your triumphs. I know it seems really weird because they're really nice people, you think, and stuff like that. And they're cool and they want to rescue you. And it's just happened to me, with too many times. A couple. They'll never support your triumphs and works of becoming enlightened if you overcome their holographically imposed learned helplessness, right? Because people who have this mental personality disorder, they need someone to rescue. They're sick, okay? But they'll never admit it because it's the shadow. It's like the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing. It's like the shadow side. They're holographically imposed learned helplessness because, see, they have it too. Just like every borderline personality disorder sufferer and every person who suffers NPD, they have it. This feeling of being a black hole that needs to suck. Except for in this case, it's let me rescue you. Let me do it all for you. You just sit there. Just sit there and I'll do everything for you. Just stay my codependent, and just stay my codependent baby adult and okay? Just stay my codependent adult baby. Look at how well fear hides itself in our egos. Just as bootstrapping truthers will never accept you as a friend or a coworker if they smell this shit on you. In other words, they smell that you're disabled or that you're in an NPD relationship, and they don't suffer from that themselves. In 2024, we must accept the unacceptable, accept the subtle ways the archons often destroy our minds. Or you will, if you can't even face that one first step, that this stuff isn't make-believe. I mean, there's so much scientific evidence for what I claim here now, that all the ways the archons often destroy our minds, they do. If you can't accept that, or you never get out, you will never get out of their cruel death grip. When you are committing daily soul suicide with your own hand at the trigger of the false concepts. In other words, when you believe the lies that they project into your thoughts. Every time you believe a lie one of these demons tells you, you lose. Okay? You can't win. Even though they've got billionaires, under their control, and etc., and media companies and internet companies, it doesn't matter. Because if you have spiritual self-discipline, if you can meditate or have discernment, you'll realize what I'm saying is the tragedy of the human condition. So, but if you believe in any of the lies of the MSM, the false concept of separation through ego control, or the inversions of Lucifer, or survival beast mode, NPD, and rent, yes, I need to form and perhaps also join a community, more formally than I already have here, my 150 subscribers and followers I have online here, and add to my community. And the real truth is we are all co-interdependent, folks. I mean, that's the actual truth. And so, yes, in the age of Aquarius, a team is probably not necessary if you don't want to suffer. But a person high on the scale of NPD will secretly only conceive of you or me as a team meet. I just thought about that the other day, how that word is meet backwards. Team instead of mate. Team meet. A person high on the scale of NPD, a narcissist, thinks of you as a piece of meat, a transaction, money, possession, or means to an end. Allow the Buddha's 4 agreements to penetrate your subconscious. Joy, friendliness, equanimity, and compassion. And begin to learn to have equal respect to all, as impossible as it seems at first, especially. Create timeless space in your journey. Pardon me. That's weird. I can't. Create space in your sun so that thus Kronos can never cut those real parts of you up. I guess I meant if you teach your children to meditate, they can help to get the shit out. By doing works of the clock, by doing works off the clock, like an artist and artisans, people that wrap jewelry and make paintings and songs, and meditating, playing, writing, creating good music, or peace within, whatever, harmless actions you can do that create peace within. Through any of these activities, you can, in all peace and harmlessness, you can smash the internal need for clocks and slavery. If you become really talented as a musician or an artisan or an artist, you can make, pay your rent or your property tax, or pay, your allodial title. And you can get off the clock and learn about the allodial title, and you can smash the internal need for clocks and slavery, and end the cruelty of Satan in peace. Circumvent the Saturn moon matrix false reality with pure timeless awareness, with pure timeless openness. No one else can do it for you. Overthrow Kronos within. Overthrow Kronos within your mind by creating what can never be cut by the beings on the rings of Saturn. Get in touch with your real soul in eternity. And if you enjoyed this video, if you haven't already, click subscribe. Follow me on Odyssey or Rumble if you're ready for more of the red pill. If you got the guts to do it. Create a great day, my family.